You are now listening to the iWalter Show. Real talk about nothing.
Good morning, everyone. This is iWalter, or I should just say Walter, but my show is called iWalter. I am back once again on Friday morning. I was having a difficult time trying to figure out how to make my levels sound proper. It seems like I'm all over the place. I was originally going to use the Twilight Zone as my start tonight, and then I figured I'll just use Jaws, because you know what, this Sunday on Father's Day they're going to do for that day 2 shows at most movie theaters around the country of the 40th anniversary of Jaws. It's from AMC, actually. AMC's the one who's doing this thing. Anyway, unfortunately I didn't know about this, so I have to plead my ignorance, because I didn't hear about this. I think a friend was trying to tell me about this, and it is it's very alarming, to say the least. But this guy that just turned 21, he got it looked like a 45, was it 45 or, I can't remember because I've been reading different sources. Bottom line is this kid he wasn't a kid, he was 21. He just turned 21 in South Carolina, and he got a gun, and he decided that I'm going to kill as many black people as I can, and he killed 9 people, died at a black parish. So, that's not really cool. Unfortunately, there's going to be repercussions on this, and you know what? It seems like anything that happens in the black community, it just has a really bad ripple effect. And normally it's with one person, from the black community that dies, not multiple people, and especially people at a parish. So it's going to be a little bit of a concern for many people. A woman brought it to my attention tonight. I'm sorry, I'm trying to look for one that actually gave a little bit more of a description of what I was looking for, because I thought I don't know anything about guns. I plead the fifth on that one too. I plead ignorance because I really do not know. But not that it's important. The important thing is, it's a shame that so many people had to die. I had this discussion with a friend tonight after work, and I said, you know what, years ago, we never really thought of people as different cultures or race or from different countries. We thought of everybody as being the same. And this was years ago, at least when I grew up. And that's not the issue anymore. I hate to say it, but this is my opinion. I think since we've gotten Obama in office, he's just made it more of I can't even think of the correct word, like a spectacle. He's made it more of an issue. But I even told this one woman when I grew up, I don't know if you ever watched that, there was these intermissions between cartoons on Saturday, and it was called School of Rock, I think. And there was one called The Melting Pot, where basically, and I used to work at this place called WHYY Store of Knowledge, and it was a PBS ran themed store over in the King of Prussia Mall. And the whole thing was, they used to sell that stuff. They used to sell these little things, the School of Rock, little cartoons that were between your cartoons. And it was basically just to educate kids when I was growing up, when I was a kid. And the one was called The Melting Pot, that basically, what made America what it was is you had different people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different nationalities that all melded into the same culture. I mean, the same, not culture, but, the same, we all got along with each other, so to speak. So, and apparently that was, I think, something that became an issue with the Democrats, that apparently it's been a really big problem that this was not an issue. I mean, this was an issue, and it was like, well, actually, as far as I remember, it really was not an issue. It became an issue when politics got involved. So, I'm sorry, I'm trying to look to see. Not again. Oh, wait, it was actually more. I'm looking at Rutgers now. I was looking at a different source. And in this story, small town outside of North Carolina, his 21st birthday. I apologize. I should have probably did a little bit more research ahead of time. But, yeah, this kid got a gun for his birthday, and that's what he ended up doing. And he thought it was important to kill a lot of black people. It said that the gunshot victims range from age 26 to 87. Some people, actually, I don't blame them, were playing dead just so they wouldn't get killed. I'm kind of paraphrasing, so I apologize. I wish I would have been a little bit more informed before I got into my show tonight, but I'm trying to get it done a little bit ahead of time. But this is something that is obviously, it is an issue that needs to be addressed. Oh, sorry, I'm thinking out loudly now too. A friend had sent me a picture of this kid, and I didn't know. It said a 45 caliber. I can't say that, but it was a 45 pistol. Yeah, I don't know anything about guns. It would probably blow up in my face if I had one in my hand because I have no clue how to use them. I understand the right to bear arms, but I guess they need to be a little bit. Unfortunately, this is going to also cause issues with that now, too, because if this kid, or this guy, because he was 21, I apologize, I got this in my mind from other friends who, like, they consider people even in their 30s kids. It's like, no. I was like 12 years old, and I was told to take responsibility for myself and my actions. And by the time I was 17 or 18, yeah, you were considered an adult. But nowadays, you could be in your 30s and you're just a kid still. So that's got to stop. And I'm not helping the situation tonight. But, I don't know much to say, and I don't really want to, I just want to give, I don't know. I don't want to say condolences. That's not the right word. But, this is a shame that stuff like this goes on. I mean, I make jokes. I'll make racial jokes. I'll make, I'm trying to think of the right word. I'm Italian. I'll make, I'm trying to think. I'll just use this as an example, like Polish jokes and stuff. But, I don't do it with the intentions that, like, here's a better example. And please don't take this the wrong way, like a Jewish joke. Oh, you make Jewish jokes or something. I don't mean anything by that. I really don't. And my intention is I'm not going to go out then and want to kill, like, Adolf Hitler. I don't want to genocide a race. That is not my intention. In fact, I have no intention to harm anyone. So, unfortunately, this guy obviously is damaged goods. And, there's a lot of victims involved now. My thing is that people, unfortunately, it depends, because I think, again, our president has, like, any time anything like this happens, especially in I'm not going to even acknowledge the whole African-American thing. If you're born in this country and you're black, you're an American. You're not an African-American. You are an American. I'm not an Italian-American. There's no such thing as a Jewish American. I'm sorry, folks. Don't mean to be ignorant on that. I respect people for being just Americans, the way I was brought up. There is no, you got to stop with this segregation that you put upon yourself. You're an American. I don't care if you're black, yellow, whatever. You're an American. If you're born in this country, I don't care what your nationality is, Russian, Hispanic, African, I'm not going to say African American, African, Italian, Scottish, British. You're born in. If you are born in this country, There is no segregated term that should be put in front of that. You are truly just an American. So once people start doing that once again and forget about all this nonsense and all this other stuff that segregate yourself, even on your sexual belief, your religious belief, it doesn't matter. When you stop doing that, this nonsense will probably, hopefully, or will eventually just kind of wither away. That is what I think what we need to do. So anyway, again, I am truly sorry to hear about these people. I mean, people need to be aware of this, that you don't go out and you don't kill people just because you don't like their skin color. I will not acknowledge that. That's where I need to make my voice heard. So, and there is no reason. I don't believe in child abuse. I don't believe in racial abuse or violence. And now here's an interesting story. I was trying to tell a friend tonight, and I lost my train of thought. But years ago, this was back in like the late 80s, early 90s, I was living in I was living in an A apartment in Blair Mill in Horsham. And I had a friend next door. His name was Joe Thomas. He was a friend of mine. He actually was there, and I needed him most of the time. He actually straightened me out quite a bit from me kind of being blinded to what was going on around me. But my friend Joe Thomas, he was black, not an African American. He was black. And one day he got tired of me complaining about things all the time, and he got so mad at me. He says, "You know what? You're going to get in my car right now. I'm going to take you for a ride." So I didn't know where I was going. He was just so angry with me. He was so fed up with me not straightening out my acts, my behaviors, that he finally had enough. So he had taken me all the way from Horsham in Pennsylvania all the way up to Newark. And we went up there because he went to visit his mother, for one thing, who lives in Newark still, probably. And he said, "You think you have it bad? This is where I grew up." And there was like literally a dead person, a person shot laying in the streets. It was chaos. And he just wanted to show me that you can't feel sorry for yourself or make yourself a victim. So he wanted me to see this, and he cares about his mother truly and dearly. He didn't care too much about his father, because he referred to his father to his mother even as "how's your husband," and he referred to him also as the TV repairman, not as his father, because it was apparently his mother had him from getting pregnant from the TV repairman for real. So, but Joe is a very smart man, Joe Thomas, and he's black, and he went from being a slumlord to being a very successful man. He actually ended up, years ago, he bought a house up in Syracuse, New York. He was a very smart guy. He was some type of engineer or computer expert before even computers were big. Like he was like some type of programmer for the naval base down in Willow Grove area, but he actually was not in the Navy. He just basically worked as an outside type source contractor, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, this was a long way to get to my main point of this story with Joe. Joe would always tell me, though, now I hope other people would take this train of thought too, or hear what I'm saying or about to say. But anytime I complained about something, or if I complained and said it was this person's fault, or compared something, Joe would tell me, my friend Joe Thomas, he would say, 2 wrongs don't make a right. So I hope people understand where I'm going to go with this. But why I'm saying this is, this was horrible. There was people who truly did not deserve to die that are now somewhere else. They're gone. So I hope, and it hasn't happened yet because of our poor system, our poor government, and it's not just Obama, who just seem to aggravate things and make it even more like, okay, you know what? If a black person dies, it's all right for you to lose control and tear down businesses or kill other people. That's the way I hope it does not come out, but unfortunately, the way our government is, it's definitely a concern. So this is where it comes into play. My one friend who years ago had mentioned, Joe Thomas, when I would say, okay, well, basically, the old proverb from the Bible, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, does not come into play. Two wrongs do not make a right. So what this guy did should stop and be buried right there. It should not continue on, and bloodshed should not lead to more bloodshed. And I hope it doesn't, but I'll leave it at that. I really hope it doesn't. That is not the way you get justice for these people who had died. You're just going to make it worse. So anyway, again, I'm going to let this story go, but I think people need to adhere to this and not just brush it under the rug, just forget about it, but also don't be a copycat or try to rebel, whoever you are, because that's not the way things should be dealt with. But I'm going to change stories now. I'm going to try to lighten up the mood a little bit. I just wanted to make note of that first. Yeah, it was funny, actually, by the way. No, this story, I found this on, it was, I try to look for stories that are interesting on Facebook. And this one was on Chiller News, and it says 6 spooky urban legends. Some of them I've heard of, and other ones, I have not. I don't mean to be belching on the radio or, my podcast. Anyway, the first one was, these are urban legends. The sewer alligators. Basically, you're a kid, you have a pet alligator that's like really tiny, and you flush it down the bowl, and it ends up being some mammoth, gigantic alligator that eats half your town. I'm just paraphrasing. But anyway, you can find like this on Chiller. The other one, I remember seeing movies about this, and it's been used over and over again. I didn't realize it was an urban legend. I figured it out a few years ago, maybe less than that, maybe a few months ago. I don't remember. The one on Bloody Mary, because they made that into stories, movies, blah, blah, blah. The next urban legend was The Hook, which I assume The Hook probably was the urban legend used in the movie of I Know What You Did Last Summer. That was one of the only ones I can think of. This one I haven't heard of. I'm not going to really go into them. I could if I wanted, but my show, I think I wanted to give more time to more important stories, not these little goofy ones I read every night. So this one I've never heard of anyway. It was called The Spider Bite. And this one is, I'm going to kind of have to read this one a little bit. It says, in this story, a young woman wakes up one morning and finds a large red spot on her cheek. She is told it's just a spider bite and that it will go away. However, the spot just gets bigger and bigger and more itchy. I want to keep people's interest going. So, you know what, if you want to read the rest, because you know what, I'm already halfway through what I like to keep my show at. I don't want to have another lengthy one. But again, just go to chillertv.com and you can read the rest of that story and the rest that I kind of want to get people's interest a little bit piqued. Because the next one is called Kidney Thief. Another urban legend. I haven't heard of any of these. Honestly, I really haven't. And I don't want to waste all my time just reading these off and screwing up the words or getting stumbled upon, what I'm reading. So I'm just going to kind of pique people's interest, and hopefully they can go further with it if they'd like to. Or if you want me to, I think my Spreaker page has a link. Otherwise, I'm going to give you my email address, and hopefully people, if they are listening, they're interested, just email me. And my email address is walter.interrante, that's INTERRANTE, at verizon.net. And that's all lowercase, folks. So, just so you know. Because I'd never heard of any of these. I just like, hey, this looks pretty cool. I didn't really want to get in. I like just reading the captions. But the last one's called Slender Man. I've heard of that urban legend, though. For some reason, I've heard of Slender Man. Yeah. But maybe in a different story, if I remember, I'll just go back and maybe just go through the whole thing. I didn't want to take away from this tragic incident that just happened yesterday, I believe. So, anyway, I'm going to be all over the place like normal, but probably even slightly more. But there's this other story, because these are ones I take off of Facebook, and it says how Howard Stern became king of all media. And this story is actually on MediaPost.com. It was on Facebook, but it's on MediaPost.com. And you know what? I think that's what I was trying to go with my premise of my podcasting is I was going to go in the direction of political news, and it was like, or news, but it didn't quite seem to fit me properly. It didn't feel like a proper, fit for me. So, and I remember Stern, he would just basically randomly talk about whatever. Of course, he had a lot of big guests on, and he also tried to get himself kicked off many times off the radio, and sometimes even successfully. That's why he was called a shock jock. But, yeah, so, hey, if you want to read that one, I just want to bring that to your attention. Yeah, I'm actually just going through these stories again because I can't believe how the time is flying on this radio show. I thought it was going to be another one of these nights. I'm just going to be... Which I am, but I mean, even more so, like, not have enough information and trying to just kind of milk it along, which I don't do, trust me. But I feel like I will have to some point. But this time it's just like, it's too much information and not enough time. So, anyway, yeah, this story was pretty fun. Well, yeah, this one actually is. This one you can find on myfoxphilly.com, and it says one man's orthodox way for handling a divorce. And it shows pictures. So I would go to that. Again, it's called One Man's Orthodox Way for Handling a Divorce. Why did I just repeat myself? Because the man literally cuts everything between him and his wife. Everything gets divided, all right, because he cuts everything in half. Like they're showing a picture of a bed that's literally cut in half. The next picture shows he cuts a bike in half. The next one is it looks like a video game. And he cut the game, the case and the game itself, the disc, in half. He cut the car in half. He cut all the chairs, the furniture in half, the chairs. A laptop in half. A couch in half. A thing you put your clothes in. Little, it's like a closet, but it's like one you buy at IKEA. He cut that in half too, and the landline, and some helmet, and an iPhone, and the mailbox, and a record, and a teddy bear. Okay, that's too much, and the television set in half. I should rephrase that. And either a DVD or a Blu-ray he had cut in half. So, yeah, hey, no need to read it because just looking at the pictures, you don't have to go any further. He literally they would say, okay, everything's going to divide in half. Thank God there was no children or animals involved, because the man would have probably cut those in half too, by the looks of it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. That was... Yeah, I can't say anything else because that's just too much. That's... I'm stuttering on my words because I can't believe this guy actually cut everything in half. So, yeah, and I really wanted to go into more detail about that urban legend thing, but I'm not. Anyway, do you know what? It's funny. One of the things I linked onto my Facebook, or liked, I should say, was a thing a friend brought to my attention. It was called Stop Masturbation Now. And it's basically a dedicated Facebook link about everything about masturbation. How basically it's obviously a punny, jokey page, a joke page, but how masturbation is a bad thing, because they usually show this kid who looks like he's on a crucifix for kids, though, like a small little thing to keep him from being able to masturbate. It's supposed to be a way to control his urges by basically strapping him down to a board, two boards that are in the shape of a crucifix. So, because I grew up in a Catholic family, so yeah, masturbation is considered a sin. So, if that is the absolute truth, I will be spending the next millennium. No, I shouldn't even say that. I'll be spending the rest of eternity in hell because, if that's the truth. But anyway, this one really caught my attention today. They're all really funny, but this one really caught my attention because it says, do redheads raise masturbation rates? Well, probably for me, I would have to say, for me, yes. Because, I have some fetish for redheads. I'm talking women, by the way, not men. But I do have a fetish for redheads and blondes. And probably brunettes. And anything else, it doesn't matter to me. But yeah, redheads were always my fascination. Because I never had one. A girlfriend that had red hair, I mean. So anyway, it's titled Stop Masturbation Now. One central theme constantly comes up on our masturbation hotline. And it says, I need help. I saw a redhead girl today, and I'm having trouble not masturbating. Well, you know what? If the girl is really hot, and there's some redheads that are incredibly hot, yeah, I would just go with go with your intuition. I don't know. Go do it. Don't even think about it. So, hey, here's one I just popped up. I'm going to have to mark it. VanityFair.com. How Back to the Future 2 got into 2015 surprisingly right. Well, you know what? I hate to tell you. That movie had nothing right. I love that movie, actually. I loved the first one, the second one. The third one I could really do without on Back to the Future. You see, I am jumping around tonight. And, oh, I'm sorry. Something caught my eye. But yeah, if you watch that Back to the Future 2 movie, they had virtual pops, like a place, like I call it a pop, but a place you would go as a kid, an ice cream shop, Denny's, something like that. But the one in 2015, according to Back to the Future, would have these virtual holograms that would take your orders. And the one was of Ayatollah. I can't say his name because this was back when Reagan was president, and Ronald Reagan was the other one that would take your order. But yeah, it's this is kind of dated. It was basically the holograms looked like Max Headroom. They were kind of based upon the Max Headroom thing that was big, I think, with MTV. Yeah, so I'm sorry, I found this other article. Just I have to put on my Facebook page. Yeah, so I hate to say it, Back to the Future got a lot wrong. The only thing is, it did actually encourage people, just like Star Trek, with laceless shoes that are supposed to come out this year. So, but other than that, yeah, everything was totally off. They were supposed to be like Jaws 3D, according to because that was a Spielberg, I think, thing, right? Back to the Future. Anyway, there was supposed to be Jaws 3D in the future of 2015. Well, it's 2015, and the only thing that's coming out is the 40th anniversary of Jaws. So, yeah, they got that's like a frivolous thing, but there was a lot wrong with that movie. I don't care. I just enjoyed it. Anyway, yeah, this story just came up, and I had to just place it on my Facebook. I am not going to read it. Well, you know me, I say one thing and I do another. It says, model sues Kotex after losing her leg because of tampons. It says a 27-year-old model who nearly died after a tampon issue using Kotex, the company that manufactured the tampons she used, as well as the grocery stores that sold them. So this girl lost her leg from using Kotex tampons. That was on Opposing Views. But again, if you go to my, hey, I'm trying to get people to go to my Facebook page as well. If you go there, you can actually read that story because I just posted it on there. Yeah. So, you know what? Yeah, I'm getting there a little long-winded again. So not exactly as what I intended to do, but it always happens. That's a good thing in many ways, actually, too. Yeah. So, folks, you know what? It's Friday, so I'm just happy about that. Don't forget that it's Father's Day weekend, so you know what? Do something good for your pop, your father, whatever it is. It is this weekend. I try to be. That's one time as much as we drive each other nuts. My parents and drive me nuts, or I drive them nuts. You gotta kind of be a little considerate. Hey, by the way, this was kind of funny. Since I went to that Taylor Swift concert, I've been kind of interested in her a little bit more on what she's done. And I actually when I went into Walmart last night, they had this. It was really cheap. It was a CD/DVD of Taylor Swift for like $7. Like, wow, that's not too bad. I'm going to try to look at this. So I watched a few minutes of it, and it was like, yeah, her old stuff. This was like, she's not that old. She's 26. But the videos, I remember it was a woman at work. That's why I'm bringing this up, too. She mentioned that, the Taylor Swift, all her songs are about breaking up with boyfriends and having new boyfriends and stuff like that. And I said, that's funny you mention that, because she says that's actually not what she's doing, or what she means by a lot of her songs. So anyway, I got this CD, DVD for $7 of Taylor Swift. She was probably like 15 years old. I don't know, 17. Something like that, because I know one of the videos they actually have, it was her, they recorded her birthday. So, yeah, what was I going to tell you, though? I'm like watching it, was like every single song, not only did it sound country, because she's completely left that behind, as of her album before this one, the last one, not the 1989, but it was actually the one before that. Was it 89, is it called, or 83? Well, anyway, I should know, because I got a t-shirt that I got. I have to tell you about that, too. It was the album of Red. I remember it was a guilty pleasure when I listened to it. Like, I downloaded it illegally. I shouldn't say that, because I was too embarrassed to buy it. And it was like, but this is really good. And it doesn't sound like country, though. I was like, okay, is this Taylor Swift, though? So, yeah, it was like her last two albums. She's completely left the country theme behind. But, which is fine. But the other thing is, though, she did sing, like, every single song was country, but it was about her having a boyfriend, breaking up with a boyfriend, having a boyfriend, breaking up with a boyfriend. So it did get, like, a little redundant. And I think she still kind of does that, but not to the extreme like she used to, I don't think. So anyway, one of the things it was like $3 on iTunes. I bought the Saturday Night Live she was on, back in 2009. It was actually really funny, but the problem is when you buy things on iTunes, they can't play any of the music because that's copyrighted. And they also cut a big chunk of the show out on certain things because of, I guess, copyright on certain products. You know, if they're making a joke of it, you know, it's a big issue. So I pulled up some stuff. It was actually really funny. This Saturday Night Live. There was one skit that had me laughing the first time watching a Saturday Night Live in years, because most of the Saturday Night Lives are horrible. But that one woman, and she's a comedian, she was in this one skit with Taylor Swift. She was actually in a couple of them. And her last name's Wig. I love that woman. She was in that movie called Bridesmaids. But she does this thing where she's interviewing, and this other guy, they're interviewing Taylor Swift, and they're making all these really, really goofy faces. And I never laughed so hard in my life. I almost pissed myself. I was laughing so hard. So, yeah, I mean, I can't believe I never took, and, you know, I think when she tries to act, personally, Taylor Swift, not that I could do any better, she's like about as exciting as a piece of cardboard. Like, she really can't act. But then when I saw her in some of the that skit, she was funny. And there was a couple other skits. She did one, she had braces in her mouth with, you know, a band around the back of her head. That one was really funny. So, and then they did this one about being embarrassed to like Taylor Swift. And it was, because that one you can get on YouTube, or that other one, Vizio or whatever it is. I can't remember. But that other one, you can get like the videos online. And it was called Watch Swifton, you know, and I think it was called Swifton from Saturday Night Live on NBC.com. You know, basically the thing was, it was a bogus commercial of like, oh, you're finding yourself getting vertigo from liking Taylor Swift, or you didn't realize you got sucked into liking Taylor Swift. You need to take this stuff called Swifamine. Oh, that's what it was, Swifamine. You know, instead of something else. You know, that's why they couldn't put it on the iTunes one. But that one was really funny. I was laughing my ass off on that one too. So, yeah, so there was some good stuff on there. I just had to mention that. Oh, here was a story of friends. Why I jump around, I do this in real life, folks. So I'm no different if you actually met me. But there were some funny stories a friend had sent me, and this one was actually one of them. Actually, it's not funny, but it's funny because it's irritating. I don't know. But it was on Fox43.com, and it says, rallies held across Pennsylvania calling for immigrants to receive their driver's license. You know what? I hate to tell you this. I hope that does not happen. Because you know what? Once illegal immigrants get their license, if they get a driver's license, a photo ID, that's instant Democratic votes. So that's an issue. And they're illegal. So it says, Harrisburg, PA, immigrants, clergy, and other Pennsylvanians gathered around the state for a day of action rally. They held vigils in a number of cities. I know I got that other word wrong. In support of legislation that would provide driver's license to undocumented Pennsylvanians. Well, what is that telling you, folks? There's a lot of freaking people in my state, which I've said before, that are illegal immigrants. And they're just sucking up all our benefits, trust me. Participants of the, it looks like vigil in Harrisburg, delivered thousands of letters to representatives asking them to pass the House Bill 1648. It basically says, quote unquote, it's a basic right to be able to mobilize, to get groceries, to get your child from school, to go to the pharmacy. Says Maria, you know what, it's one of these Spanish names. But I'm not going to go any further because I'm just going to screw up. But yeah, this is ridiculous. And it ends, by the way, by saying 11 states, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico already allowed undocumented people to have driver's license. You know why that is? Again, that is more votes for the Democrats. That's all it's about. They don't realize that all they care about is getting, the Democrats getting themselves into office. And what better way than to have, undocumented, I can't remember how to say that, folks, but, undocumented Americans, basically, my words would be illegal immigrants, that, because here it says undocumented Pennsylvanians, that will have the capability of voting. Once you get a photo ID, you're going to be able to vote. That's the bottom line. So, yes, it is kind of humorous that this actually, in today's times, is able to happen. You know what? I'm going to leave it go at this last story. Something a little lighter, because that one just really irritated me now. But it's this stupid man goes toe-to-toe with an alligator for his golf ball. And this old guy, it was on Uprock Sports. You got to watch this video. I mean, I'm serious. You really got to look at this video. This moron actually goes head-to-head with an alligator just to get his ball back. And he probably lost. He would have lost both of them by the looks of it, because they actually show the videos. Sony was dumb enough to let this moron go and get his golf ball out of an alligator that was, away from an alligator. And the man is very lucky he did not lose an arm or leg, because the alligator looked, in the video, he was very irritated by this man trying to, the man took his jacket, he had a jacket, and he put it on top of the alligator, okay, this is going to throw the alligator off. Now I'm safe to get my golf ball. Well, the alligator started charging after him and almost like was ready to bite his arm off. So, yeah, that was entertaining. That was really, really funny. That somebody is that stupid. Oh, I forgot about this one. It's not really a story, but yeah, it was on Huffington Post. What a way to end the night, folks. But it was on Huffington Post, and it says, red eyes from swimming, with a question mark. So I should have said, red eyes from swimming? It's pee, not chlorine. So, yeah, somebody actually posted this on, it was posted by Huffington Post, and it's 2 sentences. So it says, if you're in a swimming pool and you probably get red eyes, it says, bet you thought it was from chlorine. Well, it's actually from urine. That's all it says. That's the whole freaking article. I am not kidding. So, yeah, that's pretty funny. And I hate, what a way. Now I'm upset because, I'm just this superstitious person. I'm going to leave it with some crappy news source. And I ran out of stories, so that makes it even worse. So I'm going to have to dig one up. And there is no stories to dig up, so that's good. I've already read everything else I wanted to read. So I'm going to take a quick look either way, because that just really disturbs me. And why not milk the show at this point? Why not? Well, anyway, folks. Again. You know what? I don't know if people know this, but I was kind of actually shocked that I didn't see it last weekend. So I'm looking for anything. I'm grasping at straws at this point. Did you know that movie Jurassic World made globally over $500 million? I mean, that to me is just insane. The movie actually made over $500 million. Now, in our country, I think it made, oh God, this is annoying. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by something on my Facebook page. But yeah, over $500 million. That's incredible. That outdid any other, it surpassed every superhero movie and everything else that, it's made a new record. It probably, I would assume, Jurassic World somehow might have surpassed even Star Wars movies. I don't know, for an open weekend thing. Anyway, I'm going to leave it go at this again because as long as it's not on Uproxx, I will be extremely, extremely happy. And it was from a website that I didn't even know I had on my Facebook page, and it was called the 80s Movie Club.co.uk. And their pick of movies, I guess I didn't even know I had this, but it was pretty funny. And I just need something else to end the night end the morning besides that horrible Huffington Post. That's like drinking acid, it's like drinking a glass of acid. So I don't want to ruin my night. So that's why I'm going to read this dumb story on the 80s Movie Club.co.uk. And their pick of the movie was Night of the Comet, which came out in 1984. It was some really bad, campy movie, comedy horror movie. I guess people get changed into zombies. So now I can end my night because I'm not gonna end it with a Huffington Post story of anything. So hopefully you liked my drawn out night for my show, and I will try to be back this weekend depending on what's going on, because who knows, maybe I'll go see Jurassic World. I'll be one of the automatons that go see that. No, I really want to see that anyway. So everyone, I am signing off. I apologize for this boring show, and I will try to be back this weekend. And everyone, have a good Friday morning. No puns intended. And I'm sorry to hear what happened. It said, I thought it was South Carolina. I think the guy was from South Carolina, the 21-year-old. But I think the incident might have happened in North Carolina. So people, I'm sorry that happened, and, it's something that we should think about, too. Everyone have a good Friday morning. I am signing off.